Good evening, everyone. Today is July 13, 2016. This is general meeting number 18 of Provincetown 365. I actually started numbering them so we know how many we've had. If we could go around and do just a quick hello, your name, and say hi to the people at home. I'll start. I'm Rick Alberg. Hi.
And Dina Lithcott, hi.
Dan Schreiner.
Michelle Jarosevich.
Mark Boucher.
Tom Cohen.
Great. Thanks everybody for coming. This is just our usual routine. We'll just go through the work groups of those who are represented tonight, and I'll fill in for those who aren't here about what's going on with the groups, and then we'll do some new business at the end. So, community housing. I'll give that to Michelle.
Great. I gave you all copies if you haven't gotten an email of the press release. On July 26th, Susan Connolly from Massachusetts Housing Partnership, who was here with the ULI Technical Assistance Program a month ago, I guess now, is going to do a session here, a workshop on how to get housing development done. So this is supposed to be an educational piece, not just for those of us who are working on it in the trenches, but also for the community. So people who, whether it's online or in person, going, why can't we just send in some carpenters and some plumbers and put up a few walls and create units? Or why can't we do it? Why does it take so long? Why is it so expensive? All that stuff. This is an opportunity for them to come and learn about how the process works for public development of housing as opposed to private, and how the balancing act works, what things, if you want this or demand that, the trade-offs. With developers. And for us, the particular additional challenge is that we want and use small developments. And what we think is large is still small. So when you go other places, the 40 units is still a small development. Never mind if you're at 20 or 10 or whatever. So part of the issue is not just where are we going to do it and what do we want and how much it's going to cost, but getting a developer to actually do it. So we've encountered some bumps, when we were trying for like the old community center, because that's really small. Right. By zoning allows only 7 units. So, you need a 40B permit to go beyond that kind of thing. So some of the conversation's going to be about the layers of things that a developer looks at, how much time is, that impacts their bottom line too. How predictable is the outcome? Those kinds of things will be part of the whole session. So I'm really trying to encourage people to come. It's open to anyone, so I've invited like people from Truro and Lovely, stuff from the area, because it's a good opportunity for people to learn about how it works.
Great. This is Susan Connolly. She was here during the...
Yes, she was the co-chair.
Of the, what was it?
The Urban Land Institute Technical Assistance Program, the ULI piece in June. They came, there was a dozen people that were part of the team that came to look just at the housing in Provincetown. Okay. And we won't get the report probably to the end of the summer, but she's coming back. This is like another step. And the second part of it is that she's on the second day, on the 27th, she'll be meeting with the Housing Authority. The town approved some CPA funds for planning for expansion. So she's going to sit with them and try to help them get started on what should the first steps be, because there's so many possibilities. And they've had lots of conversations, including with some people from this group, have met there and tried, architects and everybody else. We'll try to give them some ideas. So she's going to meet with them to help them jumpstart that piece as well. So there's 2 things she's doing.
So she's with Mass Housing Partnership.
Yes.
And what is that for people who don't know?
It's a state agency that works throughout the state on almost all the developments that we've seen. They have some role. Sometimes it's technical assistance. They've worked with us before when we did Province Landing, for example. They came and helped us evaluate the site. They came and helped us put out the RFP together and get all that beginning stuff to, rolling. They came and looked at the former community center to kind of get a feasibility piece. They did some engineering work on, whether it could be developed. So they worked with us a lot, but they work throughout the state doing that kind of stuff. They also do some funding piece on the other end. So.
Michelle, didn't they also look at the BMW side?
The ULI team did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was part of what they're focus was.
Because I guess I just want to add for people who haven't heard that I'm the chair of the building committee, and we had discussed, and also with the town manager, I mentioned at the Board of Selectmen meeting, possibility of putting the police station, instead of putting it on the VFW site, putting it possibly across the street from the VFW site, which would then free up the site and perhaps make it more economically feasible in terms of the number of units and et cetera, et cetera. So there's nothing definite at this point, but we're going to probably be exploring that in more detail sometime in the near, I hope, the near future.
Great. Anything else on housing you wanted to touch?
Well, as I think I mentioned to people before, we're working on the housing playbook, which the first edition came out in March, and I'm working on the second one, so I'll come back to all kinds of groups in the next few months once that second round is written. And it will include things like hopefully the ULI report, but also different sections that people had recommended. Everything from how does it work? So, for example, the stable path development and the application process, the lottery process, all that. Try to give a little description of how things like that work. So this is going to be additional sections added to the playbook.
Are you still looking for public feedback on that draft?
Yes, always.
Okay.
So even if I'm in the middle of or done the second one, we'll go back. So it's going to be an evolving document. So even after the second one's done, we'll go back to
Okay.
people and get more feedback.
And people at home can find that on the town website.
Yes, it
right?
is.
It's the housing playbook. Great. Next item, nonprofit formation. Happy to say that Louise Venden kind of reconnected with the the Provincetown Community Compact, which does the Swim for Life and a bunch of other things, and has this Thinkubator program that Jen had looked at last year for funding. They also faced the sea for the portraits, but the timing didn't work for her on that project. But Louise and Jay Critchley, who is staff for that, we sat down and talked about whether there was a relationship that we could build, and he was like, absolutely. So our mission is very much their mission, to do a lot of community organizing and advocacy, and kind of enhance Provincetown for everyone who lives or visits or plays here. So they have agreed to be our fiscal agent, which means that we have somewhere to put money. We have 501c3 status through them, so we can take money that's now tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. So we kind of have that baseline to get started, and we don't have to worry about filing our own articles or anything of that right away.
Howdy.
Hello. So if anyone wants to send a check to support our work, our
It's like
post
this
office
is on
box.
TV.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking to the camera.
I'm loving the haircut.
We have a post office box now too. It's post office box 1181, Provincetown 02657, and so some of those fundamental kind of organizational things we're starting to address. So I just wanted to mention that because I know it's been an issue for a long time.
11 what?
1181, post office box 1181. So.
Thank you.
It's very exciting. So a couple more introductions. A few people came in while Michelle was talking. Randy, do you want us to just say hi?
I'm Randy. Randy Sell.
Okay.
Dave Garten.
Hi, Paul Sherman.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about housing. Michelle went over a bunch of stuff. Did you have anything that you wanted to?
You
I
talking
was
about the
most-
ULI thing?
Yes.
Briefly touch on that, but mostly of my focus was Susan Connolly returning in a couple weeks. I sent you, I
Yep.
think, electronically, and I have more for
Great.
anybody that wants them, to try to encourage people to attend.
Yeah.
Both like us, but also general public, all the people that are interested but don't know how it works and want to learn more about how the process works.
Great. And
Let's scoot back a little. A little more you.
and Paul Kelly and Doug Dalzell and I met as a subcommittee of housing to talk about specifically. So hopefully,
So the second
add
day,
to that.
if you look right down to
Yeah.
that, so they'll be meeting with them the second day.
So we're going to meet with Kristen and Elaine hopefully before that.
Good.
Great. So that's housing, a nonprofit formation, outreach and governance. The outreach group hasn't met regularly because I've taken on a lot of that activity myself, just coordinating the website and things like that. But if anybody has any information or anything that you want to get out to the public that you'd like to have included on the website, let me know and I'll coordinate getting that stuff out there. Even Michelle, if you have, we'd started putting together like a housing resources list and things like that. I don't want to be duplicative of what you already have on the town website, but.
Yeah, and I do have one that I actually need, when I was handing it out today, I was like, oh, I gotta update it a little bit, but,
Yeah,
I
so-
do have one that, because I get people just almost daily coming in either for themselves or someone they know that is desperately looking, so not
Sure.
that I have anything concrete to offer them, but I usually give them that
Right, but
for
at least
contacts.
places
yeah.
to go to
Yes.
get,
Yeah.
because I think that's the biggest, I mean, it's obviously the biggest issue in town, but it's also the thing that people ask the most. Where do I go for housing resources? And I always just say, go talk to
Yeah.
Michelle.
And-
But having something that that would pop up in a
Yeah.
Google search, I think, would help too. Okay, I'll talk to you offline about
Okay.
that. We had someone new join us while I was talking. Do you just want to introduce yourself?
I am
Say hi.
Andrew Simon.
Welcome. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah.
Parking and transportation. I guess it's just me since Gloria and Jay aren't here tonight. So the bike lanes and sharrows are in. Hooray!
Yay.
The bike racks are being made for us right now in Wisconsin or something. So they'll get here when they get here. Gloria's working on the complete streets policy, and that's a work in progress. And that group has been trying to meet monthly just to kind of keep the ball rolling on all these little moving pieces. So the next meeting for that group is August 9th. So it's kind of the Tuesday before this meeting is when that group is meeting. That's it on that. Anyone here from Waterfront Gateway Development? Not tonight. So has anyone, just a question, has anyone heard about the National Marine Sanctuary Visitor Center Committee? I know, Michelle, you're in a lot of Board of Selectmen meetings. Have you heard anything?
I don't go
about where
to them
that is?
all. No, I don't really know much about that at all.
Okay. John, have you heard any? Okay.
Is this different than the, what's that section of the ocean called, the,
No,
Wagon Bank.
this is it. This is the Stellwagen
Yeah.
Bank.
Oh, okay.
This is the town committee to work with NOAA, which is the
right,
acronym for
Right.
something
So
that has
we
to
have
do with
a-
that.
No.
There's a town committee
365,
forming.
yeah.
No, it's a town committee.
no, we have a 365 representative on it.
I hope so. I'm not really sure. I don't know right now. The Waterfront Gateway's been meeting
Oh, I'm
independently.
sorry.
So I don't know if that committee has formed yet. That's what I was asking. If anyone has heard if it's actually been.
I don't know if the other, I can't remember who the, I can't remember if it's Louise Venden. Somebody from Provincetown 365 has already been selected
Oh, okay.
to be the representative
Okay.
for Provincetown 365 for that.
Oh, fantastic.
But I don't know about the rest.
Because that
But you
committee
know
will be
that-
working with town, with the Center for Coastal
Right,
Studies
right.
and whatnot to advocate for getting that facility
Yeah.
placed here in town. So.
You know that Louise had knee surgery and is doing her follow-up in Boston.
Okay.
So if the committee is meeting, we might want to find out if somebody else can go and attend until she's able. I mean, we need to make
Sure.
sure that we're represented if they're doing anything.
If the committee has been formed, it should be on the town website with the contact information.
If it's an official
If-
committee.
if
It
it's an
is, it's
official-
one that the
yeah.
Board of Selectmen
Yeah.
was appointing, so good. And I know everyone who's been working on the waterfront committee is really busy. They're mostly, in the tourism industry, like most of us, so there's not a lot of activity. New business. The one big project that kind of came to light is a group has started meeting to talk about redeveloping the community center as a possible artist studio space and kind of a co-working shared office space. The old community center on Bradford Street, the one that town has tried to unsuccessfully tried to swap at town meeting
Gotcha,
to
gotcha. I thought it got sold.
to build housing. So there's an RFP that's coming at some point for that property. So this group has been talking
There's
about.
actually several groups that are interested in it.
Right.
So we met with one that is going to be a not-for-profit. There's an existing not-for-profit in town that's interested, and then there's, I think, 2 other people who are potentially, and the process for that is going to be, my understanding is, which I said at the last meeting, was people are going to bring forward ideas, and David's going to review them and then work with Michelle, I think, to issue another RFP,
Okay.
which may not be housing specific, so I don't know if you'd actually do that one, or you'd have to.
So by David, you mean David
David
Pancourt, the
Pancourt,
town
sorry.
manager? Okay, that's okay.
So it was on Town Talk, he posted that he, rather than just ask people to submit or respond to an RFP, he wants the RFP framed by the level of interest.
Okay,
in
so more
groups.
like a request for interest thing and then generate the
Yeah,
RFP out of that.
Right.
Okay, good.
It's
And I-
not a formal RFP.
And
Smart.
I've been to a couple of the meetings of this group that's talking about using it as a co-working and artist space.
And they're
it's-
open to having other groups like.
Yeah, oh, they're
Finance
looking to
Works
collaborate,
with
so.
them, so.
So I just wanted to talk about that here to let people know that's going on. If anyone here has any interest or any expertise they'd like to lend to that, it's really just kind of a group of, it's kind of just people involved in nonprofits in town who are interested in doing this. So it's not it wouldn't be a for-profit use. It would be
Do
something
they
else.
have resources to
They're,
buy,
they're looking,
rehab?
they're
and
looking
all
into
that
resources
stuff?
to do all of that. So yeah, so they're so it's interesting. I think it could be a phenomenal reuse of that space, you know, as a community space again, but kind of with an economic development kind of bent to it as opposed to a housing one. So it'll be interesting to see what the other proposals are.
Yeah.
And I think their biggest, you know, the one great thing about what they're talking about is that it would be a year-round use of the building. You know, it wouldn't be condos that are only occupied a little bit at a time. It would be something where there'd be people, you know, in and out often, you know, and it would be kind of a productive, kind of open to the public kind of space too. So it sounds like an interesting concept. So
That group in particular was very open to having other people involved, so whoever else is interested in developing it could potentially funnel into that as well, so.
Right.
I like their whole approach.
yeah, it sounds like it was interesting. They went and they toured the space, which I hadn't been in since it was decommissioned. And it was really neat to see it.
Is it
Speaking of.
intact?
For the most part. The
There
most
were a few
good shape.
leaves in there. and
Some
stuff.
leaks. There was a raccoon living there, I guess. And the one thing that's new there, we were talking offline before the meeting started about the old high school new heating system, and that's the one thing that building has. It has a really good heating system, new boiler and everything. It's all takes up about an eighth of the amount of space clearly that the old one did, but it leaks, and it has an elevator that works according
Does
to
everything
DPW.
include the same footprint? Or it's not
Sorry, I
gonna-
couldn't quite hear
The
that.
same footprint, it's not going to get bigger into the parking lot or anything like that?
What they're talking about is just reusing the existing thing. It's about 4,500 square feet, I think, total, the 2 floors. So,
After people got in, because the other group that's interested in it, that I met with, was thinking about adding on and doing things, but when people walk through the building, it's in much better shape than people had imagined. So the idea of tearing down and rebuilding isn't as enticing
I
as.
wasn't thinking of tearing
Yeah.
down, I was thinking of whether they'd add on to it.
Yeah.
And it's got nice sized rooms in it.
yeah,
The
it's,
basement is huge.
I mean, since it's empty too, it feels a
Right.
lot bigger. I'm sure it's like when you tour a house, it's empty, you know, it feels like it's
Yeah.
gigantic, and then you put a couch in there and you're like, this is
Right.
tiny. So it's a matter of perspective, but it was really neat to see it and to see, you know, who was there last. You know, there's still
Right.
a couple of weights in the old gym, and there's, you know, little bits and pieces of
Mirrors on the wall for the dance classes.
yeah,
Right.
some murals in the hallway and whatnot. But it was in much better shape than I expected. So that was just something that people are starting to talk about with kind of a fall timeline to have something together. I want to regroup and go back to outreach and governance. I didn't talk about governance at all. I noticed this year that it sounds like the Board of Selectmen's trying to not have a fall town meeting.
My understanding that they don't need to have one, they will not.
Okay, so don't put anything on the warrant, and we don't have to have a town meeting. So that was just I just heard that watching PTV one day while I was eating dinner.
All it takes is one prior year bill that has to be paid.
Well, we were all told very sternly at staff meeting, no old bills.
Well, that's why they've been asking all the committees too.
Yes.
Then. Okay.
Yes,
So
everybody's been
the fiscal year is
aware.
closed. So that's it. I mean, that's it from my perspective. Does anybody else have any new business, any projects that are going on, anything new that you wanted to kind of bring to the group, or questions at all in general?
I just really want people to come to that session.
Okay,
I
so
think
we'll
it's going to be a great session.
push that on Facebook too. And
I mean, I know it's summertime, so that makes it challenging too, but
what day of the week is that?
it's
It's the
a
26th.
Tuesday.
And then Wednesday's the follow-up.
Yes, Wednesday's the meeting with the Housing Authority, which is different.
Right, that's a different.
Same
But are
thing.
they only gonna meet with, can other people come to that?
Well, I assume it'll be a public meeting, so
Okay.
other people can
All right.
attend.
But the Tuesday night one is the
Okay.
opportunity to really
Yes. Right.
get a explanation of how development really works,
Yes.
right? And what the constraints and restrictions and
Yeah.
programs are. Great.
Is this like the follow-up to the one in the spring? That's,
From the ULI that was here last month?
no, the one in the spring where they give us little cards, they divide us into groups. Town
Oh,
hall.
No.
no.
Yeah.
Was that might have been the visioning day for?
That was
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
that was the
Local
visioning for the
comprehensive plan.
comprehensive plan.
Yeah, no, it's not
There's
directly.
a big chunk of it about housing.
Yes.
Right.
Which is true,
Always.
but it's not directly connected to that.
Michelle, where is that meeting going to be held?
Town hall.
In the main room?
Yeah, Judge Welch room.
Judge,
Judge
okay,
Welch.
great, thanks.
Racking my brain to see if there's anything else while I've got people in the room.
I wanted just to say that the school board meeting that's normally held the second Tuesday is going to be the third Tuesday, which is this Tuesday. But it should be over with any luck, and some people might get there a little bit late. But we'll do that.
Does the school board meet at the school?
Normally, but can you?
But the question is, can?
Ken, you might be,
right.
you might be in here on the little chairs.
I had to wear a hard hat to go in there
You
today.
do?
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
So that's it. Our next, I thought we would take August off just because I'm already getting a little Augustitis and it's only July. So, and I know everybody's just swamped. And we would be meeting, I think, during Carnival if we stuck with our regular day. So
not
how
a
about
good
the
idea.
second Wednesday rather of September, which is the 14th. It gives us some breathing room and some opportunity for people to actually get some stuff done who are working on projects. Any objections to
No.
skipping a month? Great.
Good month to skip.
Yeah.
Vacation month, right?
Good month to
So just a reminder, we're on
Sausage.
Facebook. We're on Facebook, Provincetown 365. The website's at provincetown365.com. If you post on Instagram, tag it with Provincetown 365 so people can see it. And that's it for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.